Welcome to Seven Trumpets Prepper, and guys, welcome to another edition of the Hard Truth Show, a very special edition of the Hard Truth Show for today, my friends. This channel, after I believe it was 10 years, 11 months, and 1 day, I believe is the numbers. I've got to total it up and make sure I'm right on that. But yeah, 10 years, 11 months, 1 day, I think is the totals. That's where it finally hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel, and that is quite a rarity and quite a feat. I don't know if I'll get my play button for a while, because I think one of the things it said the other day on the notification thing was that you had to stay out of trouble. No community guideline strikes for 12 months, and I've had a community guideline strike as early as 3 months ago, which actually cleared off on the first for speaking out against Rona. So, and taking the JAB. So it may be a hot minute before I see my play button, but nevertheless, it is an honor to finally get there, guys. And guys, make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell for all notifications, and please make sure to share this content with other people. Today, we're going to be discussing the prophetic things that have either been fulfilled or are being fulfilled in this past decade. I thought this would be a great throwback review and reflection on the past 10 years that the past decade that I've been on this stream or been on YouTube, period. I thought it would be really awesome to review and reflect and see just what the Most High y'all has been doing in this world. A much loved y'all. Shalom. Yes, it is another beautiful Sabbath. And by the way, guys, bear with me. I'm using my new mouse here. Give me just a second. Check it out. It looks like an old Nintendo remote. Hold on a second. It's got the D-pad on the side of it here. Just give me a second. So for those that do not follow my channel, or you may be new here, I've been getting some comments from new subscribers and stuff, is on the Sabbath, on the scriptural, biblical, lunisolar scriptural biblical calendar. Okay. You can download this app to help you learn to get back to the scriptural biblical calendar at worldslastchance.com, or you can download the App Store for Android or Apple. It's totally free. All right. And this helps you figure out when New Moon Day is and when Sabbaths are, because those are set apart days to worship the Most High. Okay. And I stream either the night before or the day of. And then on New Moon days, I try to always usually do it at 12. Okay. But I'm pretty fluid with this anymore. I'm not trying to be rigid, guys. You just got to hang in there and catch me when I'm streaming. All right. So if anybody didn't see the recent streams, I did spy balloons or satellites on a flat Earth. Okay. That was stream 61. And the last stream I done was kind of a follow-up to it, is Flat Earth and Ancient Civilizations and the Modern Agenda, to cover it up, because people really get in their feels when you start talking about Flat Earth. And today we're going to do a review of biblical prophecy being fulfilled in the past decade. All right, so this should be quite an interesting journey today. Not really have to say down the rabbit hole, just down history and memory lane. Somebody said I'm 2 minutes behind because I didn't want to miss the beginning, but I decided to start the day with you for once. Hey, blessings to y'all. Much love. Shalom to everybody coming in the building, and to those that will be watching this afterwards. Okay. All right, guys. So just real quickly, once again, I want to say I really appreciate y'all that follow this channel. Seriously, much love and shout out to y'all, because matter of fact, I'm gonna leave the comment stream up on the side now that I've got through all. Oh, one last thing before I say what I'm about to say is make sure, guys, also to check me out over on Odyssey, because if they ever do pull the plug on me over here, you can go over on the blockchain and watch me over on Odyssey, and follow the content there, because, you know, Sleepy Joe and the rest of them, man, they want you to obey. And if you ain't obeying, you ain't playing. All right. So pop back to comments. Once you know, you know. There's the comment so far of the day right there, Joey. Once you know, you know. That's right, hon. All right. So right before I put the thing up for the presentation today, like I said, I just want to say thank you again to everybody. This is the first time notification sent me something. Wow. Maybe they are going to have to actually straighten up now that actually hit the earmark for 100K. But anyway, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for your support, for your love, for following this channel. Thank you to those that financially support the channel. I've got to get that banner put together this week. I've got the names and accumulating that to put together. So much love and appreciations. All right. So with that said, let's take a walk down memory lane. Now, for me, one of the scriptures that hit me like really hard a long time ago was Daniel 12:4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. And I'm going to tell you what, in the winter of 2009, when I came up out of Babylon and began my journey to start coming out, I said, once you go flat, you never go back. That's right, Gene. That's right. You know, I don't see flat earthers going to globe, but I sure do see a lot of globies going to flat earth. And I used to be a globie, just saying. So anyway, when you see this and you understand that, you know, in the last days, even to the time of the end, many shall run to and fro, knowledge will be increased. And I'm going to tell you, there is a lot of knowledge being increased. I've literally put presentations together for streams that I literally put it together the morning of. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I straight up did it the morning of. And you know what's really sad about that is two things. Number one is how easily accessible that is. And number two, how that I instantly found the things I was searching for as compared to just 10 years ago. It was a nightmare to try to research things. I mean, like just in the short 10 year, it is unreal. And so, as I reflect, I'm like, just looking back at because I've been in this thing. This is like, I actually was in the truth for about 3.5-ish years, I think, before I actually started the YouTube ministry. I had a YouTube channel before. It was Lucas Indie Fan 1, if you ever want to look that up. But long and short of it, I started another channel, Seven Trumpets Prepper, and that's been what I've ran with ever since. And one of the first things that woke me up was that the 10 Commandments were still valid. And if y'all don't know, I imagine that's how the true 10 Commandments looked, was they were written probably on sapphire in this manner. And this is how that I look at the 10 Commandments. A lot of people have them like modern Roman numerals and all this crazy stuff on it. I look at it Paleo Hebrew, blue sapphire tablets. And the Most High probably carved them right out from before the very throne, if truth be known, I guarantee it. It's going to be shocking to see a lot of the facts later on down the road. But next up is the thing that I came into that led me out of SUN Day Church and SAT Day Church following, which, like I said, I'm going to be writing a book this year, and I really hope that you enjoy it because it's going to be really follow from where I was to this day out of Babylon. And when you look at it, Karen, my favorite color is blue too, is that when you consider upon the matter, matter of fact, you know what's interesting? Let's back up just a second. You know what's also interesting is the sky ice that they say that they have found down there in Antarctica at the edge of the dome. Is I wonder if it doesn't just look like that too, you know, because in comparison, what I've seen, it does from what people's leaked and shown or whatever. But, you know, the scriptural calendar was something that I came to next. And I know it has been a lot of people wake up to that in the past 10 years. And guys, these are just honorable mentions. I'm actually going to get into prophetic things, which, I mean, these do touch on prophetic things. Isaiah 58 talks about, you know, restoring the foundation of many generations. And that's exactly what's going on when people start learning these things and following these out to be true. But anyway, you know, and for people that don't understand the scriptural calendar, because so many of us have been indoctrinated to follow the Roman calendar for so long, is that when the new moon comes, all right, when the moon goes dark and it starts to relight up, okay, that's leading into new moon. And you have new moon day. And then as the light returns, starts returning to the moon, you see that you have 4 complete weeks, all right? And a 30th day of the month, I've started honoring it as new moon day as much as possible, because if you look at the book of Samuel, I believe it was, when David and Jonathan was out in the field, you can see how it talked about the second day of the new moon, etc. So, you know, in ancient times, they probably kept the 30th day and the first as new moon fellowships, as you can see when David was missing from Saul's table. But anyway, moving forward from that, and guys, like I said, if you want to get back to scriptural calendar, go to worldslastchance.com. Let me see what somebody said here. This is interesting. First heard of flat earth was from you. It basically went in one ear and out the other. I heard it again, and it made me think when you said it. Long story short, researched it, and to this day, amazed. Thank you. Hey, much love to you, Ira J5. That's awesome. All right. Now, Oh, so, yeah, and we could cover the scriptural calendar some more, guys. I know it's a topic that hardly anybody in the Torah community talks about because it interferes with SAT day worship, and that's where it gets. All right, so another thing that I know that like I came to on my walk was the set apart names. That was something that came to me early on in my walk. In the first couple year of coming out of Babylon, and you can see it there. Ancient text, an example of it, and right there, that's Yah. Some people say Yahuwah, some people say Yahweh, Yahweh. I try not to be disrespectful to Most High. Y'all listen. That's why I just say it in the short form, like Psalm 68:4, and I say the Most High often, because people get all in their feels about it. And guys, listen, I just want to honor him. I know this. It ain't Jesus, and it ain't God. All right. So it's time to get with the program. All right. That's all I'm going to say to that. So those that's making effort, much love to them. All right. And another thing that I came to along the line there, it was around, I think, 2015. I'm pretty sure it was 2015 when I published this, was the True Hebrew Israelites documentary that I done, which, by the way, that thing's over 1 million views now. Praise Most High. But you don't see that on my modern content. Now, this, guys, is why I say that stuff is throttled, because I think to myself sometimes, I'm like, do I make content that's worth watching? Like, do I just, am I failing at life or failing as being a producer? And it's like, no, because the fact that I produced stuff almost a decade ago and it's into the millions of views, and then I produce stuff now and it makes the thousands or maybe into the tens of thousands of views, there is something fundamentally wrong there. And I don't think it's me, just saying. Granted, if it is, I'll try to do better, but there's something not right there when you're over 100K, you have content in the past that's into the millions, and you produce content now and it's throttled so bad that you barely get thousands of views. I mean, I'm just saying, please look at the metrics there. But, the True Hebrew Israelites, that was a huge awakening. And thank you, Yoram Yah. I really appreciate that. I really do, guys. Listen, I appreciate that greatly. I hope it is. And listen, guys, I'm not the only content creator with great stuff. I mean, like Founded Earth Brothers. Oh man, just to name a few. I love Brother William Bishop Brown at Boom Church. There's a lot of different content creators, and granted, we may not agree on every single point on stuff, but I mean, there is a ton of great people out there. World's Last Chance, their YouTube channel. I mean, there's so much. But anyway, this is another honorable mention. Moving forward, there was that was a moment in time that really shook me to the core, because here's the thing that bothers me. And as I've said this in the midst of True Hebrew Israelites, I said it literally just at the Jeremiah 22 conference, and I spoke down Georgia, is that to me, it's not an issue of that people can't stand it because that the so-called black man is the True Hebrew Israelite. You've got to look deeper than that. It's a spiritual thing, so much deeper than that. Is that it would be like if the Chinese, I think this, I don't want to misquote what I said, but you can watch it when I spoke. It wouldn't, it was that roundtable discussion, I believe. I said it wouldn't have mattered if it was the Chinese that was selected to be the true Hebrew Israelites. People would despise the Chinese at that point. They would become a byword and blah, blah, blah. You've got to look at things. Stop looking at things from a material standpoint, from a flesh standpoint, and from a spiritual standpoint is where you need to really view it as a spiritual standpoint. Because when you start doing that, things start becoming a lot clearer as to what's up. All right. Next up, we have the flat earth. The topic of flat earth literally brings people unhinged. I have never seen anything in my life so fundamentally crazy as when you talk about flat earth, the true Hebrews, the Sabbath by the scriptural calendar. And the next one I would say is the set apart names that triggers people. These literally, people, like, their screws come unglued. I mean, they just literally come unscrewed. And it's wild to me because I'm trying to figure out, is it spiritual? Is it indoctrination? Is it that we have a problem just disconnecting, cognitive dissonance? I'm just trying to figure out what it is, because I've seen people go completely the smack off on me. Go and research this and come back later and apologize. And listen, you don't even got to apologize. What I'm just trying to figure out, and I really would like to know as a litmus test, is like, is it the indoctrination? Is it that it's such a radical thing that it's so hard to digest and accept? Like, and you know what, guys, I'm reading the comments. They think it's spiritual. I think it's spiritual too, because honestly, to me, when I found out that we live in an enclosed world and the Most High is literally just above us, I think that is such a comforting thing. I don't even think, I know it's a comforting thing, but what I don't understand is the disconnect, the mechanism in which that people disconnect on this. And I don't want to stay in this too long. You say you see, so your sin remains. It's pride. Can you digress on that further, Wes? Facts, what you're saying, I don't understand, unless it's in context something I was talking on there. But to begin this off, I know we're 17 minutes into this, and now we're actually into the meat of this, that what I was going to cover is, a lot of us have come to those fundamental truths. Those are like pillars of truth. But prophetic things, you cannot have atmospheric pressure in an open system. Gotcha. Oh, no, that's somebody else that said that. I'm sorry. Okay. But as of the days of Noah, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating, drinking, marrying, and giving marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So also shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Now, Messiah said this in my observation. I don't want to say opinion. In my observation, in generalization. Messiah spoke often in generalizations on things, parables per se, often. And what is important to take away is that as of the days of Noah, so shall come the Son of Man be, hold on a second. I got to read this, guys. One thing I disagree with is when you pray that the Georgia Guidestones be destroyed, but they had already planned for it to be destroyed at a certain period of time that will affect. Yeah, well, they're the wicked thing. I wanted them gone, guys. I'm so glad they got gone. I think it's funny they got destroyed like 3 weeks before it went down. But anyway, down to pray over it anyway. But what you see with this situation here is that if you look at the book of Yasher, the book of Hannah, the book of Genesis, if you look at those, yeah, I'll just stick with those three for right now. If you look in consideration of what was going on in that time, right here, what you have is genetic manipulation. All right, that you can see how the Watchers, the fallen angels, you can see how things got messed up, how even animals' DNA stuff was getting messed up. Oh, I mean, Jurassic Park, honestly, ain't too far-fetched in my mind on some of this stuff when I consider upon it anyway. But when you look at the things that was going on, this was a given. And in our generation right now, I mean, like as of just in this past year, like 6 months time frame, there's people where that they had leukemia and the girl's DNA was edited on the basic fundamental building block level. And before no time, she was cured. Now, that's great. All praise the Most High that we're able to do certain things. But now this is the thing that troubles and bothers me, okay? Just hear me out. Is that when you go to doing things of that nature, what's to say you can't flip the script and do terrible things on the back end too, right? Now, another prophetic thing, is that, as of the days of Noah, there was giants. And in the last days, as I just shared the other day, the Andrew Dawson thing, listen, guys, even if, say, there wasn't a giant up there, right? They killed the guy over it. There was something up and going on. I'm just saying, like, and now they say this is a fake one right here of excavations and stuff. But nevertheless, there is a ton of stuff that I know the Smithsonian's destroyed over the years. There has been a huge outcry over that too. Over time, people spoke about that. Yeah, and I agree. I agree with that statement right there. There is not going to be another generation we are at. Absolutely. Absolutely, guys. And as we move forward now, this next point, point number 2 really hits for me, is that not only are we living in the days of Noah, as of the days of Noah, because we have the DNA manipulation, we have proof of giants, more and more proof of giants coming out. But another thing is that for your merchants were the great men of the earth, for by your sorcery all the nations were deceived. Now that's Revelation 18:23, part second half of the verse, right? Now, important to understand that right now, today, I feel like I always have to say today to bring people up to speed and understand in this moment we're in, is that the top pharmaceutical companies, this was just in 2020, as you can see without me saying it, that multiple of the ones that gave out the JAB were at the very top, okay? Because Umbrella Corp, for anybody that's ever seen Resident Evil or whatever, I'm telling you, like, this is Umbrella Corp we're dealing with right now. Because if you look at it, pharmacy is derived from the Greek word pharmakia, meaning use of drugs, medicines, potions, or spells, poisoning, witchcraft, remedy, cure. The practice of pharmacy has been around for thousands of years, and healing with medicinal plants is as old as mankind itself. Now, what was it I was going to say with this? Oh, yeah. So years ago on here, and I think it's still up, I did essential oils of the Bible. And I covered how you can use essential oils. And I covered how that, pharmaceutical drug sorcery, pharmakia. And then I kind of just let that go in my mind. And later when, the JAB was being handed out, it reoccurred to me like, man, the scripture has already covered this. And literally we're dealing with this right now, where that the great merchants of the earth have completely deceived the world through pharmaceutical, drug, sorcery, witchcraft. And I'm like, this is just absolutely crazy. And this is today in our time, folks. All right. And I don't know if anybody missed, like was asleep or cryogenically frozen for the past 2.5 years, but it's been quite a wild ride. Lockdowns and jabs and forced to do this and that. I mean, it's been a sideshow and a half. So yeah, oh yeah, there you go. Make merchandise of you. Yep. And that's what, and listen, folks, they're already on lockdown 2.0. They're working toward that. If you're not preparing for that, you're in a bad spot. All right. Now, next up, this is an aerial view of the Hadrian Bridge across the Euphrates. And this was, oh my goodness, hold on just a second. I'll tell you the date on this for those that want to go look this up. Give me just a second, guys. I'm getting my phone here because I thought I had zoomed that out far enough that it stayed in the frame, but it did not. So I apologize on that. This was published the 26th of the pagan second month of this year, And so right there, that was published back on the 26th of last month. And I mean, that thing is leaking. I mean, leaking bad. And, the Euphrates, I mean, it is so clear, fundamentally clear in the last days that the river Euphrates would dry up to make way for the kings of the east. And I'm going to get in the scripture on that in a minute, but I just want to point something out to you. Whether this is man-made right now, whether this is of Yah, one thing about it is at some point and measure, this thing is going to be like a dry bathtub. Y'all follow with me? So what I'm saying is whether the thing's dried up right now or not, it is obviously drying up. And this has been beginning in the past few years to really take an effect, okay? So it's kind of like watching the buzzer run down on a hockey game. It's obvious the hockey game is not over yet, but we're definitely nearing the end of the game. Are y'all tracking with me? All right, now that's in the Arab news. And like I said, you can go check that out. So that was, hold on, let me count down how many days ago that was then. That was 5, let's see, that was 1, 2, 5, 6, 7 days ago. It was published a week ago. And so that's as like clear and present time frame. I don't know how much more I can make it obvious like that this is in real time happening. Okay. All right. Now, scripture talks about this in Revelation 16. And the sixth poured out his bowl upon the great river, the river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, and that the way might be made ready for the kings that come from the sun rising. Now, I put this one in there from the American Standard Version because it is very important that you understand that it was directional in which these would be coming. And I didn't put in there well, now sometimes, Jamie, man can be used by Yah to serve his purposes. I'll just say that. It's kind of where I'm going with what I was saying. Shalom, though, much love. And the thing is, guys, with the American Standard Version, if you look at that in consideration, that really kind of draws a measure toward Korea, China, the East Asia area, right? And another thing to consider upon is, now I didn't put it in here, but I have covered it before. Maybe like 6-7 streams ago, is when I was talking about that, it reminded me of the Lord of the Rings. Is the Desolation of Smaug or whatever, is whenever the dragon wanted to hoard all that gold, right? And it talks about I think it's in the Quran, that Muhammad said that there would be the river when it would dry, that 100 men would go each and fight over the mountain of gold that would be found there. And the one that would be left of the 100 would say, oh, well, this was left unto me, and it was for me to have it, or whatever. And very interesting things that's written in the Quran just about the Euphrates as well. But they're already, I guess, saying they're finding gold there with it drying up and stuff too. But I'm just saying, guys, like, this is real-time tracking before our very eyes. And when, it is completely dried up thereof, we have make way for army from the east. And keep in mind, these people are pagans. These people do not serve Yah. They have been indoctrinated by their leaders, and to do terrible things on a whim, if instructed to do so. And now, I'm not saying that the 200 million man army has to be exclusively China. I'm not even saying that it is China. What I want to point out is that as many people look to the kings of the east coming across, right here, said something will happen. That is very true, Yeromia. That is very true. And we need to be mindful of that, because also people can use that to deceive people too. However, always lean to the scripture and follow it. But it says here, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire and of janknut and brimstone. And the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. By these three was the third of mankind killed, by the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths. Now, I just want to point out, like I said, whether that 200,000 man army, 200 million man army is spiritual, or whether it's mankind, is that if you're wanting to produce that 200 million man army out of China currently, this is it. Because China's population is now declining. Last week, officials announced that 2022 marked the first drop in total population in 6 decades. Okay, so in 60 years, this is it, folks. Since the famine of the Great Leap Forward, the long-expected event is the result of decades-long declines in Chinese fertility rates. All right, so right there, China's population decline is not yet a crisis, blah, blah, blah. But see, that was published the very first of this pagan year, too, okay, on the Roman pagan satanic Gregorian calendar, right? Right there is another clear definitive measure that it's in front of us right now. All right. And now, with that behind us, another measure that has been clear to me in this past decade, especially with the Hebrew Roots Awakening movement and so many other things taking place, is that you have the great falling away, is when the majority of the church justify sin and demonize those preaching against it. Now, I've noticed people shared Timothy, and right here's another one that shared it. Now, I've seen it, the full context of it earlier, but they'll turn aside to myths, and they'll have itching ears and etc. Well, we are definitely in that decline. And 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3 through 10, I think, is an excellent expose of that. Now, I know a lot of people are not fans of Paul, and that's your business. What is intriguing to me is when I can use Paul, I will insert said Paul. So it says here, let no man deceive you by any means, that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. who opposes and exalteth himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worshipped, so that he is Elohim, sitteth in the temple of Elohim, showing himself that he is Elohim. Now, of course, if you look at that, the man of sin in Rome, because there's many antichrists going out in the world. All right, that scripture talks about that. But there is a man of sin, and that is the Pope in Rome. If you look at that, and it says here, remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things, and now you know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall the wicked one be revealed, whom Yahweh shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. The master shall consume. Let me see. And then shall that wicked one be revealed. Yeah, I done read that. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And therefore, of course, Scripture talks about they'll be sent strong delusion. Now, something that is very important to understand is in the past decade, multitudes have come to the knowledge of truth that the man of sin is the Pope in Rome. This has been blasted from the mountaintops. People have been telling this the world over. I don't know where to even begin to back up to the foundation, but I'll tell you this, like many people have come out of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. People have come out of the SUN Day Church. People have come out of SAT Day Church. People have even woke up in Torah community and seen, wow, something is bad off with this. There is something not right here. And this dude is meeting all the criteria to be the man of sin. And, of course, talked about the Great Whore Babylon, Roman Catholic Church, arrayed in purple and scarlet, decked with precious stone, gold. She just meets all the qualifications as you continue to go down the path. Excuse me, guys. And as you consider upon this matter, it is so easy to put two and two together as time progresses. And this has definitely been a prophetic fulfillment, as I see it, over the years, that people have seen who the man of sin is has been revealed. And now it's at this point that, if you don't want to listen to the set apart spirit, if you don't want to listen to the Most High's warnings about that this man is wicked and that institution is wicked, and that, the Malachi prophecy, from what I can gather, it even speaks that this is the last pontiff. I mean, that right there, if you look up Saint Malachi's prophecy of the popes, this is discussed in great detail, that to the measure that this guy is the last pontiff of the Roman Catholic pagan papal church. And not only that, he will reside over it during the destruction and the great plagues and stuff that's to come, right? So that's something to keep in mind right there. Now, something to consider also is that when we see, and I didn't put it in this presentation, but when we see most likely the how do I word this so it don't get flagged? The alien coming, whatever that's going to be, the final card play many people are discussing. Whenever we see this party start, then that's something to be very mindful and careful of, is because that when that takes place, there's going to be some mass deception, and you can guarantee, you can bet the farm on it, that this dude will be at the forefront selling it, because they've already said in the past, and I've showed it in presentations past, that they would baptize an alien, right? And so when you start talking in generalizations and things like that, it is obvious that they're down to have this take place. So, just important to take away, folks, that this man is not for you. He is not for the kingdom. He is not for this world. And once again, this is something that has definitely played out. I know, what did somebody say? Oh yeah, yeah, that's a good point right there. Absolutely too. Yeah, and as Isaiah 8:20, they speak not according to what is it, to the law and the prophets. If they speak not according to this, they have no light in them. And Daniel 7:25, I believe it is, talks about he will seek to change times and laws. All right, and they have changed the calendar. They have changed, attempted to change the calendar. They have attempted to change the Ten Commandments. So just be mindful of this, folks. All right, you can disagree with Luke all you want, but you can go look this stuff up and see what's up. And said, I know that they know it's flat. Oh, absolutely, they know it's flat. Listen, the geocentric truth, as opposed to the globe model, that the heliocentric, which was been pushed and promoted from the Roman Catholic Satanic Church. Anyway, that right there came out of Rome's walls too. So I mean, guys, this is not rocket science. I mean, unless you're at NASA telling lies. And keep in mind, I told you the other day, they don't lie all the time. That one document they did publish that, you know, that testing was done on a flat, what was it, non-rotational plane or something. I can't remember exactly how it was worded the other day. But anyway, moving on. And says here, woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia, woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Gird yourselves up with cloths of sack and hair, bewail your children, and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. Now, these two things have not taken place yet that I'm about to share now, but they are in the buildup. You can see the buildup coming to it. And so that's why I'm throwing these in on the very back end of things that we have seen that's being a fulfillment taking place. I'm throwing these in as honorable mentions so that when they do happen in the very near future, most likely, we can all be like, hey, well, that's that. Whenever we see what would be Iraq, Iran, Egypt, and Syria destroyed, the burden of Damascus, Isaiah 17 talks about the burden of Damascus. You know, it'll be a ruinous heap. You know, Aleppo and a bunch of places there already a dumpster fire. When we see these measures take place, it should be very clear and very understandable that this is the beginning of sorrow. Like, this is a guarantee, a absolute fundamental guarantee that you're at the beginning of sorrows, because the scripture talks about it. And if you have not read the book of 2 Esdras, I highly encourage you to read it. Just the whole thing through. I mean, it is just absolutely unreal how much a context that this can fall into for today. Now, I don't know if with the drying up of the river Euphrates, if this is a triggering, like there's some things to me, if I can pause for a second, just go down Luke's rabbit hole. Now we're going down the rabbit hole. You have been warned. I am trying to figure out if in concise measure at the same time, you will begin to see the trumpets, 2nd Ezra chapter 16 take place. At the same time that, you know, you have these things taking place, you also have this huge falling away that's taking place right now. The new ageism, like, I'm just wondering if it's going to be a snowball effect where it's just bam, 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 or if it's considerable measure over time, so that those of us that are awoke, the good woke, to the truth, is that we see this, we're like, okay, well, we're here at point A. We're here at point B, C, D, E. We're almost to the finish line. Or is it going to be just boom, boom, boom all at once? I'm just trying to figure this out, because the reason I say this is, like, when, for example, when Moses and the people were in Egypt, you know, they were getting ready to come out. They seen the plague start in the beginning where it affected everyone. And then in the very end, it just affected the Egyptians only. And then they left out, but it was consecutive, just boom, 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 boom. And I'm wondering if that's how it's going to happen, because I'll be honest with you, I would prefer that it just all went down at once than over a measured space of time. And I'll tell you for why. Say this went down, and actually, I'm going to pop off the screen for just a second and have this talk with you face to face. Here is my selling point on that. Okay. I got one more slide left after this, guys, and I'll bring it back up in a second. Is if you have all that happen over a long measure of time, that is a lot of trauma to deal with. Even for a believer, that's huge. And I know the Spirit can help you endure, but I'm just saying, to me, it would be so much better in my own mind if it all happened at once. Because say this all went down in a year's time frame, you're dealing with one winter of trying to chop wood, not freeze to death, a short amount of time to try to feed yourself, a short amount of time to try to protect yourself, a short amount of time to try to grow crops, a short amount of time to try to do this or that or blah blah blah. And I see everybody starting to agree in the comments section. I'm not the Most High. I don't know what He's going to do. I would prefer that if it happened, that be how that situation play out with absolute great desire. That would be, because I'm telling you what, I have, by the grace of y'all, once that the things are done this year, I should have enough water and food and get the fireplace in, have be able to heat the place and power the place, and just multiple things like that. That would be ideal. And yeah, right here, oh, I think it's in Second Baruch, Yeremiah. It says all nations have conspired against true Israel. Yerem, I think it's it's in Second Baruch. It talks about that the nations being judged, and those that knew Israel would be pretty much put to the sword and destroyed. But those that didn't, I guess, that they would have mercy on it. And I hope the Most High has mercy on me and my seed and my ancestors, or at least from my seed forward, because I didn't know who true Israel was, and nor do I have any ought toward anybody. So, I don't want to see any wrong done to anyone. So I hope the Most High has mercy on me and my household because of that. But I just wanted to point that out, guys, is that my hope would be is that when this all does pop off, that it goes down all at once, because the thing being strung out for a long time, you're going to have a lot of bodies stacked, most likely with that situation. All right. Now, next up, the next slide we have, and the last, somebody said it depends on bug out or bug in, right? Because if you set up a site and have a bug out, then you will have to leave your setup. Yeah, and well, here's the thing. You need to really plan to be mobile, because even though all the infrastructure I plan to finish here this year, y'all willing, that's not to per se that I get to stay here. So we always need to have a backup plan or be able to be mobile, and take care of yourself mobily. I really support that 100%. All right, so here we have the last slide, and which brings us all the way around to why this channel was started, is to prepare for the 7 trumpets of Revelation. It was so humble. The very first video I ever made, it was how to make a simple fishing kit for your bug out bag. I remember that was the first video I think I ever produced on here. And it is unreal how much content that has been produced on this channel over the years now, looking back. And it is ultimately to prepare for the 7 trumpets of Revelation, because now when it does hit, that's why he's 7 trumpets prepper, right? Is because this is going to be the greatest moments in the history of humanity, in my personal opinion. And aside from Messiah coming the first time, this would be, I think, second place. Is that, yeah, absolutely. Get the likes up. Much love. I appreciate you guys. Is that when you look at the 7 trumpets Revelation, it is going to turn this world almost upside down. I mean, like, guys, you are going to see things that I've covered multiple times in the past, unlike anything we've ever seen before. And at this point in conjuncture, whenever it does take place, I wonder to myself, is people actually going to wake up at that point and be like, oh my goodness, we're living in the last days and the Most High's return is imminent? Like, I don't know. But to consider upon the matter is that I will say this is when this does pop off, and it most certainly will pop off, is that I'm just wondering, D-Day +1, does most people drop the rapture doctrine at that point? Does most people drop pagan Babylonian churchism? Does people drop their wicked ways and turn back to the Father at that point? Is this going to be a point of mass revival? because I wonder to myself if this is going to be the point where a lot of people turn around and say, man, I hate your guts. Because, you said every bit of this was going to take place, and here it is, and man, we hate you. And I really do wonder about that, because the reason I say that too is because Yahoo, many people know as Jeremiah the prophet, he warned people forever about Babylon coming. And when Babylon came, he was literally been treated terrible by the Israelites. Israelites. Sorry about that, guys. My words running up on myself today. Israel, they literally treated him terrible, and yet everything he said came to pass without fail. And I worry, and I wouldn't say the word worry, I just observe and have concern that those of us that have had love for our fellow man and have warned people that when that time does come, we will be absolutely hated, not because that we done anything wrong, but because we told the truth, because they love not the truth. The world loves not the truth, and anybody that has the truth in them, the world definitely doesn't love them. And I just hope that when that time comes, that we are not treated with such contempt, because if so, we have a long road ahead of us when the trumpets start, because these people are going to come unhinged, because now Christianity is going to crumble. Actually, I think most all world religions are going to crumble. People are going to be beside themselves with what they're going to see take place, even though it's been written in the book. Everybody got the same copy of the book, right? For the most part, everybody can read the book of Revelation and see literally what it says it's going to happen. But still, despite that, people are going to flip out and trip out when this takes place. And now listen, I'm going to freak out a little bit. Not that I might freak out a lot, but it's because of dealing with the measure of what's going on. Because here's the thing. I'm a kind of person that you absolutely right about that. It's going to be ugly. It is going to be ugly. Is that the thing with it, I can read this, I can digest this, I can understand, and I can accept that the following things are going to take place. That I can accept. That I can prepare. What bothers me, and let me drop this slide off for a minute, since if anybody needs to rewind later after the stream, you can get the information off that. D, the messenger, I can't imagine either on some of this. Is that my point in case is that after you've digested all that, after you've accepted that, and you've had this massive preparation go through your mind, one thing to consider after that is, what do I do with these pharmaceutical drug sorcery companies? What do I do with AI? What do I do with the government that's wanting to flashbang my door at 3 a.m. and come and murder me when the time comes? What am I going to do with the gangbangers and the drug dealers and all these crazy people? Like, what am I going to do with the starving masses? Yeah, there you go, Jamie. And then you got that situation too. So many loved ones. What am I going to do with all these people, desperate, unhinged, and they have very limited self-awareness. Like they've had so limited self-awareness that they have not even done one measure to prepare for what is right now. Yet I've had the same amount of time. Some of these people have actually had more time than we have to prepare, to analyze, to accept, to digest, and do something about it. And these people are going to be on your doorstep when the time comes, and you have to deal with that too, on top of everything else. It's just madness. Deep breath. It hurts my head to think about this. It hurts my head to think about this. And this is why I do the Hard Truth Show. This is actually medicine for me to do this, because I can actually reason together and use logic with people that are on the same path and purpose. And it helps me remind myself I'm not alone, because many of us, I hate to say it, we are alone. Now, I can't remember, what was the guy's name that I believe he committed suicide, and he played, what was it, Mr. Stoutfire or whatever. I can't think of his name right now. If somebody could drop his name in there, I'd really appreciate it, because that actor, I think I want to give him credit, because I think it was him that said the quote, is that being alone is not the worst thing. Being with people that make you feel absolutely alone that is the worst thing. And I don't want to misquote that. Thank you, Joey. Shout out to you. Robin Williams, I believe Robin Williams quoted that, said that, thank you, Brother Show, and V-Spot. Much love to y'all. I appreciate everybody's interactions in here. Is that I believe Robin Williams quoted that. He said that being alone is not the worst thing. Being with people that make you feel absolutely alone is the worst thing. And I may have misquoted that, but it was something to that effect. And that is so true, and that is so relevant to where we're headed. We've got to be focused on the fact and clear measure that in the end of it all, like today, once again, using the word today, I, Lucas, accept the following. When this comes down to the rubber meets the road in the end, I will stand in judgment for every stupid, sinful act I've done. And I've done some stupid stuff, folks. I will stand in judgment for everything I've done in this body. I will most likely, during the trumpets, have to endure this thing potentially by myself. My whole family may be dead. I may be in the prison house. I may be dead. There's just so many variables on the chess table to consider like this is things that you have got to get together. You've got to get your act together now, because for 10 years I have talked on this show, or not just the show, I'm sorry, the Hard Truth Show. I've been doing it now for about 2 years, I think, but I have spoke on this show. I have shown things. I have talked multiple times on the YouTube channel about things. I have made documentaries about things. I have presented the facts again and again. Like you have told people, many of you have told people for years. All right. And you see where they're at currently. I see now in reflection, today celebrating over 100K on the show. I see as we do this reflection stream is that people that I have told truths to, I mean, massive fundamental pillar truths to over the years. And I have walked this out. I've seen still to this day them people walk in the same path that they're in today, to this very day, and made no adjustments hardly at all. And it is just it's just wild, man, to see how that two hold that thought just a second. What is this comment from D? You've definitely been preparing the people forever. I appreciate that, brother. Yeah, and man, I hope it's woke some people up. I mean, I know it has. I've seen people even from atheism come to the truth. And all praise Most High, all glory be unto Him. Please let that be forgiveness of some of my sins for the effort that was put in. Because boy, I've got them piled up to the heavens. But I just look at the situation, and it hurts my heart, and it's saddening at times, guys. I don't want to end the show depressing. I'm just going to say this and then move on. But it hurts my heart, and it's saddening to know that the love that you have for your fellow man and the effort that was applied when you were in Babylon to try to serve Yah with the best measure you could with what you were given at the time. Is it, and then you look back and these people, you had to leave them behind to walk out the truth, and you look back and they're still in the darkness and they stay in the darkness. It's just so sad to look back on that. And I'll say this though, on a positive measure, it's like Robert Frost said, I was walking in the wood one day when two paths diverged. I took the one less traveled, and it has made all the difference. And I'm going to tell you what, folks, if I had this walk to do over again, I would 110% go right down the same way as I did to this day. And that is so sad if that's true. All that alimony is what killed off Robin Williams. I'm going to tell you what month are we in on a pagan calendar? Let's see, we're in the third month. I got 2 more months after this one paying child support, and I cannot wait until it's over with. And I'm going to tell you what, folks, divorces, child support, alimony, it is debilitating. It is absolutely debilitating. And this system does not care about a man. It actually don't care about the woman. It's just a measure of making money. And I'm going to tell you what, gentlemen, I know you want access to a woman's body. I know you want to get married. I know you want to have a partner, but be careful who you take. Do not get with these Jezebels just because they look good. Because I'm going to tell you what, they will strip you bare and they will leave you leaking out in the streets financially, and they may be leaking out in the streets literally with your blood too. I mean, it's crazy. And, but anyway, guys, I really want to thank you, Family Law Cesspool. I went through absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And guys, I just want to say at the close of the show today, first off, I hope everybody enjoyed this. And secondly, is that I don't know how much time we all have left together. I don't know how much time I have left on YouTube. I don't know how much time I have left on this earth, but it is an honor and it is a privilege to be with you guys, and especially on Sabbaths and stream with you. I really hope these streams are a help to everyone. Guys, as I always say to everyone, please like, share, subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell so that you do get told whenever I'm actually on here. And guys, as always, until we see you again here at Seven Trumpets Prepper Channel and on the Hard Truth Show, I hope the Most High Yah baruch you and keep you, make his face shine upon you, show you favor, and give you shalom, my friends. In Yahushua and